Hi, and welcome to another edition of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from The Moke Show on 91X. As always, I have my big drinking partner in crime, Paul Segura. And we're getting a little different today on Beer for Breakfast. This is Josh.
How's it going?
President of Setting Sun Brewing Company.
That's
Setting Sun Sake.
Setting Sun
I forgot
Sake
the most
Company.
important part of it. So, okay, sake. Sake technically beer?
So everything that gets a high alcohol content ends up with a wine designation. You get strong beers, they become barley wines. Strong ciders become apple wines. Sake is just a rice beer that happens to be very strong. So rice wine.
Well, cheers.
So by strong, we're talking up in the 10 to 12%?
This one comes in at 14% ABV. While it's higher alcohol content, smaller pours. So this is 100% locally grown rice, polished to ginjo grade, which is a statement of quality, meaning that almost half of the rice has been polished away to get it what's called the shimpaku, or the pure starch center, to get it the pure sugars. And then we ferment.
Okay.
So when drinking sake, what are you looking for?
Enjoyment, life,
Okay.
wetness.
Getting wasted?
Looking to dance better?
Feel good about yourself generally. Things that are really unique about sake itself, but not necessarily about fermentation. The sake yeast number 7 in this, it's actually, I chose it because it's considered to be the iconic sake yeast. It's what people think sake tastes like. But you can notice a lot of ethyl acetate in it, and it represents as banana or bubble gum.
Oh.
And so you'll notice a lot of banana esters, and you'll notice some phenol and some clove in there. So
That's what I love when I drink. So I like those esters.
Yeah.
I don't like it too clean. I like it fruity and
yeah,
flavorful.
so the style of sake that I'm very happy to present is actually a very rare style of sake. It's Yamahai, and is like a rustic farmhouse style of brewing. Think of like a Saison sake, and just like a Saison is a much fuller, rustic flavored beer than a cleaner lager, this is the sake that we brew.
So you serve it unfiltered as well, right?
We also have our Ronin Nagori that will be launching next month. So it took us from open to releasing the Ronin Clear was about a year, and almost another year to release the Cloudy, but you know, it doesn't go out until it's ready.
So should it feel warm in my chest right now? Because I'm feeling nice and warm in the tummy and the chest, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's called happiness. If you're not familiar with it, you should drink more sake.
I'm kind of cold and dead inside. This is how I know that we don't know each other. Even though you spent an entire month very littly clothed on my bedroom wall and on the wall of the 91X studio. If you don't recognize Josh, this is Mr. December from the Sexy Brewers calendar from What's on Draft for 2016.
I mean, I am a sexy brewer, but Paul here has, I believe, at least 2 abs.
There it is.
There was one. I saw one.
Awesome. So how many years has Setting Sun been around?
Oh, gosh, we just passed the 2-year mark.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun to watch a brand new craft industry grow, like from craft beer to craft sake.
You've carved out a cool niche here in San Diego in this beer community of ours.
You know, I did it in beer, and I was very happy to do it.
And you did it right in an area where you're surrounded by other breweries.
That was on
purpose. You can literally ride your skateboard from one to another.
That was on purpose, because it takes a lot of good beer to make great sake.
Well, they say the same thing about wine, right?
I've heard that.
You guys do some cool stuff with your neighbors over there at Thunderhawk, right?
Yeah, we actually have a rad sake hybrid beer resting right now. It was kind of a playful take on a Märzen that I wanted to release.
Märzen.
Yes.
I like the name. You're quite creative with the names.
Yeah,
actually,
like this one.
Depeche Methode.
Depeche Methode.
So
I get a kick out of that.
It's literally grammatically incorrect from Methode Depeche, as in a Belgian-style peach sour. But it's brewed in the same way. So it's a feral ferment that I fed peaches to for like 3 months, and then cellared for an additional 9 months.
Okay, so you say you keep making reference to the ferment, like feral ferments, wild fermentation, but sake also employs the parallel fermentation.
Multiple
does it not?
parallel fermentation, yeah.
So how does how do you get the enzymes to convert the starches into sugars when it's wild?
So the thing that is the multiple parallel, great question, man. It's koji, Aspergillus oryzae. It's a mold, it's rice mold. And what it does is it breaks apart the complex sugar of carbohydrate into simple sugars, making them available for yeast. So the multiple parallel fermentation is Aspergillus making it simple sugar, yeast taking that simple sugar and peeing out alcohol and farting out CO2.
It's science.
That was the best description that I've heard of brewing. Oh my gosh. Why have I never heard this before?
Because I'm a large boy.
I like that. You get along with my co-host on the Moog show. Moog, he is a 12-year-old boy.
Okay.
Stuck in a 32-year-old man's body.
Yeah,
So this tastes a little bit tart.
Yes.
You get the peach in there.
it's like sour peach rings.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
It also
okay.
tastes a little bit drier than the first one.
It's incredibly dry. Our sake ferments like 098, 0983. That's
Wow,
that's
yeah.
general specific gravity, which to the non-science folks or non-brewing folks, that's density relative to water. So if we were to pour our sake on top of water, it'd be lighter and float on top of water.
Really?
Yeah.
like Guinness does on top of Harp.
Right.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that you could do that. I also, Paul, did you notice what their little tagline is?
I didn't. Delicious.
Deliciously offensive and offensively delicious. That's you.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
It's
I
all of
guess.
us, though.
It is all of us.
People that are free enough to be themselves.
Deliciously offensive.
I do like that you said about the peach ring because I thought that, but I didn't want to say it because I didn't want you to get offended by me saying that it reminded me of a peach ring.
Oh, no, trust me. I put tons of effort into composing these flavors and conceptualizing what I think are authentic Belgian style ferments through the prism of sake, but I have no problem calling it what it is. I did a lavender sake that I called my Bed Bath & Beyond White Girl Wasted.
Nice.
Oh my gosh!
And it is delicious. The lavender plays wonderfully with it, although it's just not for me because I'm not generally...
Lavender reminds people of soap, right? Hence the Bed Bath & Beyond.
Well, now here's the thing. Lavender is very tricky to work with because at low levels, it's like, is it there? I don't know. And it just a bit too much. Some would describe that metric as a sea hair. This is national, right? Hyper-local?
We can drop F-bombs.
Oh, okay, so nobody's going to see this.
It's internet.
So a little bit too much, it goes right to soap. And so that's one of the things that are difficult about balancing these flavors. You know, the right amount of acidity, the right amount of sweetness, the right amount of herbaceous quality, the right,
Right.
brewing.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, but it's a little different in many ways, but kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's art
It's subjective.
and science.
Josh, tell me, how did you get into sake?
The easiest way to say it is I thought I could and I did.
Okay.
I spent many years in the brewing world. I worked for breweries all over the place. I even worked for Carl Strauss for a short stint. But it was while I was at Black Market working at a brewery in Temecula in 2009 that I started really contemplating sake, and the bug bit me. And I thought it was important, and I thought somebody should be brewing it. And if nobody was going to, I might as well.
Yeah, I like that.
So we've been bringing authentic Nama sake to San Diego for 2 years now, and I'm very excited for the projects that lay ahead.
Sweet.
A lot of them are collaborative efforts, like this Passage to Arcadia. It's a sake cider co-fermentation with gin botanicals that we did with Newtopia, because there are no rules.
Oh no. Well, and I love the Newtopia guys. They're so awesome over there. Rick and Ryan are just rad dudes. I love what they're doing.
I poured you guys a lot of this one just because
what I
I know
like
it's
about
good.
Yeah.
what you guys are doing and what they're doing, in a beer city like San Diego, people want their hops, but you guys are also doing hopped sake. They're doing hopped cider.
They have the IPC, the what is it, India Pale Sake or cider they do? Yeah.
I love their IPC. It's so good.
Yeah. So this is their cider with our sake and a lot of gin botanicals.
Is this barrel aged? I know you do some barrel aging of sake as well.
This is not barrel aged, but this is a pretty extreme ferment. It's incredibly dry, incredibly nuanced from the gin botanicals. Huge cider aroma, clean sake finish.
Yeah, I'm getting both. Like on the front end, I'm getting the apple, and then on the end, I'm getting that dry sake finish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get a lot of the, it's not super juniper forward like.
I hate juniper. That's, I wrote the recipe, and it's about a third volumetrically of juniper is individually than everything else. Like everything else is like a pound of something, whereas juniper was like just a couple ounces.
Did you pick use of spraying it all on the other botanicals?
No, I actually utilized my neighbor, Jason at Swinford Spirits. Where I'm at in the Miralani Makers District, there's 9 producers of alcohol and 3 restaurants. It's kind of a rad setup. But what that means is if I ever have a wine question, I just go ask Eric at Charlie and Echo. Okay. If I have a distilling question, I walk 2 units over to the distillery. Yeah. And if I ever want a beer, I go to Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And you're all just right there.
Yeah.
This beer is awesome. And I feel like after having these 3s, I feel like I've been abusing sake this whole time.
I think most people have been.
Like it's literally it's like a sake bomb. Like 1, 2, 3, sake bomb. Or I'm trying to like drink it as quickly as possible.
Now let's just describe that drinking behavior, right? You're slamming an industrial produced product into an industrial light lager. That's something that college kids do. Mm-hmm. And I know there's people our age in college, but I mean, they're not drinking like that anymore. If you want something nice, if you want something refined, you're not pugging exponential hoppiness. That's just not something you do. And if you do, I'll be on the other side of the bar from you because that's insane. But if you want something to sip on, if you want something to relax with, something to truly pair with food, sake has more amino acids in it than any other alcohol. So it has more opportunities to compare or contrast with food. So we did a beer dinner with Ballast Point. It was amazing.
Nice.
Chef Ro killed it there. We've got a cheese pairing with the Small Goods Food Company coming up the 30th of this month. And the cheese with the sake, amazing.
That sounds so good.
I want to do that now.
You're invited.
Okay.
Bring your wife if you like.
Will.
Okay,
yes, yeah.
Perfect.
So the one thing we haven't mentioned for everybody who's gluten-free, gluten-sensitive out there.
So sake to me is a passion project of doing something incredibly difficult in an incredibly unexpected place. The fact that it's gluten-free is beneficial, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gluten-free, so I don't think about it. Yeah, we're naturally gluten-free, and we're right down the street from Duckfoot. They do gluten-free stuff as well.
Yeah.
I've sent people to both of your places.
Nice.
People that ask me if we have a gluten-free.
So our sake, here's some specifics that I don't generally advertise because people like to use these stats for their own purposes. Our sake is unpasteurized, so it's raw, it's natural. Does that mean it's healthy like kombucha? No, it's better. But our sake is unfortified, unsulfited. It's lower acidity than wine, so people who have acidity issues or sulfite issues, come drink sake.
Okay.
I got you. And our red wine barrel-aged sake emulates a Cabernet so well, you'd never even know.
That sounds delicious.
I've had it.
Yeah.
It's a great beer.
Thank you.
Well, beer.
Same. I'm not mad. I'm a brewer.
No big deal. I did want to hit on one thing. Looking ahead.
Yes.
The metal swap meet in October 27th.
October 27th. This is so much fun.
So I've gone to metal swap meet every year.
Yes.
And this year it's not going to be a courtyard. It's going to be at Set and Sun Sake. So anyone who hasn't been, tell us about it.
There's one thing I need you guys to know. To separate us from all the other sake breweries in San Diego, we are the metal sake brewery. We play metal in our tasting room.
Had no idea. Had no idea. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But because of that, the Metal Swap Meet teamed up with us, and the three we teamed up with AleSmith, and we're actually going to be releasing a Jack Daniel's barrel that held Speedway Stout, that is now holding sake, that is going to get coffee and chocolate to make a pastry stout barrel-aged Speedway
Take my money.
monstrosity with AleSmith and Setting Sun and the Metal Swap Meet.
Oh my gosh!
I got to tell you, I've been in this business for around 10 years now. Not as long as you, but I'm also just not as handsome. That's
but you make up for it with like being twice as witty.
right. There's that. Thank you. Keep saying that stuff.
What else can you do to each other? To, come on, guys. Do you want me to leave?
I gotta say, it's been a huge gift in my career that I get to work with Paul for our IPA we did last year, and Pete Zine with AleSmith. These were monoliths in the industry that I get to bring sake to, and so
that's so cool.
I'm building a mountain.
Nice.
Anytime you want to work again, man, I'm always down.
Hell yeah!
Ooh, yeah.
We're gonna have to do this.
Dude, Collapapalooza.
Well, okay. So speaking of the 27th is the metal swap meet.
Yeah.
Because I have zero respect for my own sleep schedule. The very next day, we're doing Setting Sun Sake Day at the Balboa Friendship Garden.
Whoa.
Japanese Friendship Garden.
Wow.
And it's going to be a full day of activities, cultural activities like taiko drumming, some martial arts, type stuff, food presentations, and then a dinner at the very end.
Nice.
People can experience what you're saying about the pairing of food with
sake and kind of get a better understanding of San Diego's place in the Japanese culture and a better understanding of where we all kind of fit in.
So where is a good place to find all the information about both of these events and really just Setting Sun Sake in general?
Our website, settingsunsake.com, our Instagram is always updated, usually always updated. Our Twitter is almost never updated.
Dude, me too. I'm Twitter deficient.
I just don't think,
It's all for the kids. I don't know.
People go to the tasting room. The tasting room is awesome.
I'm there a lot. I can answer all your questions, and I'm good at making dick and fart jokes, weaving those into brewing.
There's that.
What more could you ask for?
Right?
Very cool. Well, Josh, thank you so much for making time. Oh,
cheers. No, I got some.
You see a little bit left?
Yes, Setting Sun Sake Brewing Company. Get over there in Miramar. If you're a wine drinker, you're gonna love this. If you're a beer drinker, you're gonna love this. If you just like warm, tingly feelings in your tummy, you're gonna love this. So get over there. Paul, as always, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks
we
for
went down
having
a different road with sake today.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a good road.
I'm good with it.
I'll go down that road again.
I'd gladly.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't wait for Moog and Jared to try this.
In October, we've got that barrel-aged pastry stout sake to look forward to. So
wow.
We'll be there for that.
Nice.
And you should be there for that also. And thank you for watching Beer for Breakfast ABV. If you've missed out on any of our previous ones, we have had some awesome people on. They're all archived at 91x.com. And every Friday morning, Paul gets up here at 9:20 and tells you what you should be drinking on 91x. So get on it. Thank you so much. And cheers to you.
Support your local brewery.
Yeah.
cheers.